All right, so Entertainment Weekly has released an article talking about Batman Caped Crusader. So, this is, of course, the animated series that's being created by Bruce Timm, who was the co creator of Batman, the original animated series. So, he's coming back to Batman, and I gotta say, this looks fantastic. So, let's get into this article here. Batman Cape Crusader first look reveals Asian American Harley Quinn and really weird Dark Knight. Batman the Animated Series creator Bruce Timm is back with a new cartoon about Gotham City's superhero. Get the first details here. So this is the first image here. Really cool. So this is kind of harkening back to what he first looked like in when he first appeared on the scene. I think his gloves used to be purple, but the rest of the suit looks very similar. He, of course, has the pointy ears. Let me actually see if I can find this. First Batman appearance. Yeah, this is what he used to look like. So, very similar, actually. Yeah, this is the version in Arkham Knight. So yeah, this looks really cool. Okay, let's start reading here. Batman has been around for more than 80 years now, and in that time, Bob Kane and Bill Finger's Dark Vigilante has been the subject of countless comic books, cartoons, and movies. Given the variety of interpretations, it's hard to say that any of them are definitive, but Batman the Animated Series comes close. The 1992 to 1995 TV show spawned a whole universe of superhero cartoons, introduced the world to Harley Quinn, and remains beloved by fans. So no one is better equipped to create a new Batman cartoon than co-creator Bruce Timm, but he wanted to do things a little differently this time. Batman Cape Crusader was first announced as an HBO Max series in 2021, and then was saved by Amazon Prime Video after Max eventually passed on the project. It is now set to debut later this year. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? That and it seems to be part of David Zaslav's strategy with Warner Brothers Discovery is that he doesn't really see the value in just having things premiere on Max because the show is just going to go there. It's not really going to make any money, you know, unless, of course, it's a show that attracts new subscribers. But when it comes to DC stuff, it's how many people are going to watch a Batman animated series that isn't already subscribed in order to watch the plethora of other DC stuff? So I honestly think it's really smart to just be like, hey, Amazon, give us money. And we'll just give you the show. So I think that's honestly pretty smart. In a new interview with Entertainment Weekly, Timm and character designer James Tucker say that the number one priority of Batman Cape Crusader was making sure it wasn't just a repeat of Batman the Animated Series. The best way to do that, they decided, was to make the new show fully a 1940s set period piece, rather than repeating the anachronistic jumble of computers and payphones that defined Batman the Animated Series. So that sounds really cool. Yeah, because the original Batman the Animated Series, it was a weird mix of a, or I'll say it was like a timeless setting, right? Where you had, it felt kind of old timey, but then you also had advanced technology in the show. It seems like Cape Crusader is actually going to be very grounded in realism. So yeah, let's continue reading. James and I are both really big fans of movies from that era, so we decided to really lean into that in terms of the clothes, the cars, the architecture, and the level of technology. Timm says of the new show's setting. Early on, we decided there would be no computers and no cell phones. That changed everything. Were there cell phones in Batman the Animated Series? I actually remember. In addition to using 40s noir films as a reference point, Timm and Tucker also have the actual Batman comics from that era, which featured the first appearances of characters like Catwoman and Clayface to draw on for inspiration. But there are also elements of Cape Crusader that no Batman fans have seen before. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, right? When did Batman first came out? Batman first appearance, 1939. That's crazy. This motherfucker's old. Harley Quinn in particular looks much different than any of her previous appearances, including her origin in Batman the Animated Series. The new show characterizes her as Asian American and also separates her from her longtime partner in crime. Oh, I forgot to actually. This is Jim Gordon, by the way. So, cue it. Woke! 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 Yeah, he's black. I don't know. Who cares? I personally don't. But yeah, this is Jim Gordon. Not really much to comment on here. But down here, this is Harley Quinn. And let it be known that I don't want to fix her. I want to enable her. But yeah, no, she looks really cool. I really like this design. She looks scary. And then then down here it says, whether in her solo animated series or in the upcoming live action film Joker Folie à Deux, Harley Quinn is still typically defined by her relationship with the Clown Prince of Crime. Tim wanted to change that. Oh wait, sorry, I think I skipped a paragraph. Oh yeah, Harley Quinn in particular looks much different than any of her previous appearances, including her origin. Oh wait, did I skip that? Bro, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I co-created the character, so I have a lot of love and affection for her, but I thought there might be something interesting about bringing her on the show. Just not as Joker's girlfriend, Tim says. So how do we do that? A big part was just doing a basic flip. The original Dr. Quinzel was a little bit more serious, and then when she became Harley, she got really goofy and weird. So we thought, what if we reverse that? When she's Dr. Quinzel, she's a little bit more whimsical and fun, and then when she's Harley Quinn, she's scary. I think that sounds really cool. I know a lot of people are very allergic to change, right? They're like, if you're doing an adaptation, it has to be exactly like the original source material. You're stealing the creation of people that came before you, and you're ruining it. Blah, blah, blah. Like, people get very emotional about this type of thing. Hopefully people are normal about this in this case, because it's literally the guy that created the character that wants to do something different. I don't know, like don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and defend the Velma show. I understand that people just don't think it's a good show, right? But a lot of the criticisms of the show are just so silly to me. Like, when people, it feels like a lot of the criticisms are rooted or based in them just not liking that they made changes, which is so just cringe. It's like, what if you dislike a show, dislike it because it's bad, not because it's different from the original thing. Like, why do you just want the same exact thing over and over and over again? I don't know. I find people's approaches to media sometimes to just be very different from the way that I approach it. So I think this sounds fascinating. It'll be interesting to see what people think of these changes. And going on, the two halves of Harley's personality are also more connected in Cape Crusader. Instead of abandoning her day job after becoming a jester-themed supervillain, this version of Harley uses psychiatry as a weapon. Tim teases. Oh, and also I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, so she's apparently not going to she's not gonna go crazy because she met the Joker. She's gonna go crazy all on her own. So that's also very interesting. So yeah, they actually don't mention Joker really at all, as opposed to just talking about him in relation to Harley. So it kind of seems like he's not going to be in this first season. Okay, rather than catering to the Joker and other criminally insane residents of Arkham Asylum, the Dr. Quinzel of Cape Crusader is a normal Gotham City psychiatrist. In fact, she gets assigned to treat none other than Bruce Wayne himself. So this is Harleen. And apparently she's gonna be Batman's psychiatrist, which is, again, just really fascinating. Just a really neat switcheroo of how these characters interact with each other. I wonder if it's gonna be like a Sopranos situation where she well, it says later in the article that nobody knows Bruce Wayne's identity, but I wonder if she finds out at some point, and maybe she becomes infatuated with him, and that drives her maybe to become Harley Quinn or something like that. That could be kind of interesting. In doing so, she gets to experience firsthand the stranger version of Batman that Tim and Tucker wanted to explore. It's not just the costume, which harkens back to the distinct short gloves, tall boots, and heightened ears of 40s comics, rather than the sleek modern batsuit. That's different, but the psychology as well. He's a really weird human being, Tim says of Batman. He's not obsessed with his parents' murder, but it changed him in a way where he's still not adjusted to being a human being. He's literally Batman. He's him. Inside, that's who he is. Whenever he's Bruce Wayne, that's not just him with a mask off. That's him wearing a person suit. He's trying to pretend to be something that he's not. So that's honestly the way that I've always kind of viewed Batman, right? That Batman is who the character is, and that Bruce Wayne is the mask that he puts on to hide his identity, blah, blah, blah. So I like that this is the angle that he's going in. Like, that's one of the things, it's not really a complaint of the Nolan movies, but it's one of the reasons why I kind of don't view the Nolan movies as like super accurate to at least how I've always perceived Batman. Because in the Nolan movies, it's almost like he has three different personas where it's like, he's like the Bruce Wayne when he's hanging out with Alfred, where he's just like a normal guy. Then he's the Bruce Wayne when he's like, you know, being like an eccentric billionaire. Then he's Batman. And they feel like three distinct characters. I've always kind of saw Batman as like, Batman is who he is. Like, Batman should be the same in when he's out being Batman and when he's in the Batcave hanging out with Alfred. So I like that they're coming out and saying this. The idea, or Tucker adds, the idea was to keep him so removed that no one knows who he is and no one knows what he's about. We try to wipe out the foregone conclusion that he's a hero, whether it's for the police, regular citizens of Gotham, or the viewers. So yeah, I like that this seems to be at least somewhat in his early days, because his like his place in the city isn't really established. So that's kind of cool. And this is Bruce and Selina, I guess. Clayface and Catwoman also get makeovers in Cape Crusader, or more accurately, they're back to their original comic book looks. We didn't want to do the Batman the Animated Series Catwoman, or the version that Ed Brubaker and Darwin Cook did in the early 2000s with the practical leather jumpsuit, which has become her default look in the comics and movies, Tim says. That's great, I love that, but we wanted to do something different, so we thought, well, let's go all the way back to the beginning. I love the original look that she had in the 40s. It's purple. So yeah, this is, I guess, the Catwoman costume, and yeah, this looks cool. Again, it's just different. You know what I mean? And this actually harkens back to what James Gunn said actually on Threads, where somebody asked him, he was like, or yeah, the fan asked him, hey, with the success of X-Men 97, you should go and do like a Justice League or Justice League Unlimited '05, right? Just like X-Men 97. And James Gunn, I think, had a perfect response where he was like, the reason why X-Men 97 is as fun as it is because of how fresh it feels, how it doesn't feel like it's desperately trying to be what the popular thing is. And this is that. This is like, this just feels fresh. This feels original. This feels interesting, right? It doesn't feel like the monotonous slop that it feels like we've been getting from like Marvel and DC for the past few years. Like, yeah, I mean, listen, with like Invincible and X-Men 97 and hopefully this and like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it really does feel like animated stuff is kind of breathing life into the comic book genre. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love like The Boys is coming out later this year, and I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for or Gen V came out pretty recently. That was very good as well. But I don't know, me personally, like even something like Deadpool and Wolverine, it's just, I'm not like that excited about that, because it feels like, okay, yeah, I've seen Deadpool before. Like, yeah, Ryan Reynolds is doing the Ryan Reynolds thing. I don't know, like this just feels so interesting to me. Okay, let's keep it going. Tucker cites Barbara Stanwyck's performance as the title character in The Lady Eve as an inspiration for Cape Crusader's Catwoman. Pretty sure that's like an old movie, right? The Lady Eve. 1941 film. So that's interesting. I feel like I'm totally pulling this and like from the recesses of my memory. But I feel like this is considered to be like one of the first like femme fatales or whatever. I could be, but again, I could be completely pulling that out of my ass. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. This Selena Kyle or this Selena Selena Kyle is playful and charming, though Batman and viewers underestimate her at their peril. That episode is very fun, but it also has moments that are really serious and dark, Tim says of Catwoman's appearance on the show. It's the juxtaposition of those two things that make that episode really cool. So the way they talk about it, it kind of sounds like maybe Catwoman is only going to be an episode of the show, which I don't know, that might be kind of disappointing. You'd think that she would be like an ongoing character. Although this might be like an episodic, or not episodic, but this might be like Batman the Animated Series, where every episode is kind of telling its own story. So we'll see how that shakes out. And then here we get a picture of Clayface. So this is apparently, and I guess let me actually read this next paragraph. Clayface got a similar retro treatment. Don't expect the shape-shifting mud monster of Batman the Animated Series. Instead, Caped Crusader draws on the character's original comic book appearance, inspired by classic horror movies. Batman Caped Crusader premieres Thursday, August 1st on Prime Video. Apparently, Clayface's original appearance, he wasn't like a shape-shifting mud monster. He was just a guy that would wear like scary masks. Apparently he was just a guy. So apparently that's what they're going with here. And that makes me think that this is going to be a Batman show that's very grounded and that it's not going to have like the more heightened elements. Let me actually look up Clayface first appearance. Yeah, like apparently he was just a guy. Which I think could be cool in and of itself. Like I'm not I'm not somebody that like needs like the like this version of Clayface, you know what I mean? Cuz that's a discussion that's currently like ongoing about the Matt Reeves the Batman films with Robert Pattinson, where it really does feel like a lot of people are really getting like way too excited about the notions of a Mr. Freeze, of a Clayface, of like a Robin, where I feel like Matt Reeves' Batman movies are trying to be more grounded. And I don't think we're gonna get a Mr. Freeze with a freeze gun. I don't think we're gonna get a mud monster Clayface in those movies. I don't think we're gonna get a Robin in those movies. I just don't. I think in that very like serious and grounded, gritty world, I don't think that like Batman taking a child with him to fight crime, I just don't think it works. And I don't think I don't think that's what Matt Reeves' vision is either. So it seems like that they have a very similar vision here for Batman Caped Crusader, and hopefully people like get the hint. Hopefully they adjust their expectations accordingly, because I feel like for the Matt Reeves stuff, people are in for a rude awakening when all the things that they want don't end up coming to fruition. Because I think especially so with the fact that the DCU is going to have a Batman in a more heightened universe with a Robin. I feel like, especially that now that that's happening, I feel like Matt Reeves is just going to try and go in the complete opposite direction, lean into it even more than he did before. So anyways, I start talking about other things, but yeah, Batman Caped Crusader, I think this looks fantastic. I think like everything that they're doing with all these characters sounds really cool. And let me know what you think about any and all that we talked about here, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.